one of the big concerns that we have today, especially with our young people. Human trafficking usually starts with young girls between 12 and 14 years of age. Yeah, they usually say 14 to 17, but it's somewhere between maybe 12 and 18. It is a very big business. They make almost probably $150 billion a year, where there are over 20 billion victims in sex trafficking. One thing that I like to tell parents and grandparents and anyone who has young people living with them, and whether you're raising them or not, be careful with the internet with them, because that's where they get trapped, and that's how they get coaxed into doing certain things and to coming out. A lot of the kids will meet people online and they'll start chatting with them online. That's why it's always good if you have one of those monitors on their computer and on their Facebook page and their Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all the other ones that you can't trace, because a lot of the ones that the kids deal with, you can't trace them. But you can screenshot some of the things, and I think that's how law enforcement has solved some of the crimes and found some people, because other girls or other boys will screenshot that information, and then we'll have names of people on there. It is a big business. It's not so bad here. We've had just a few cases where we've had young people to go out and meet people online and go to Phoenix to meet them. Usually what happens is the individual, it could be a boy, probably a man, and sometimes they're women who they consider like they're recruiters that go out and recruit these kids. They'll talk to them online like they're the same age as them, and then they'll say, hey, well, let's meet somewhere. And somehow the kids will get to Phoenix. They'll either get someone else to take them, or maybe they go to school there and they just don't come home from school that day. And they usually will meet people out, kind of at a public place, and by this time the person's already telling them that they love them, because they kind of groom them over the phone. We had a situation where we had a young girl that actually her mother brought her into our office, and I told you I was raised in the South, so I had a Southern mother that didn't take anything, and so I didn't have any children, but I hear myself sounding like her when I talk to kids. But this young girl was there, and she was upset because her mother would not let her go meet some guy in Phoenix or somewhere in Chandler, and she had difficulties with like knowing where he was or how old he was and where he went to school, because he never gave her any information like that. And so it was almost like she didn't know anything about sex trafficking. And so I kind of started explaining things to her, and she said some of the things that the kids always said: I just want somebody to love me. And I guess that's what he was doing, and he was grooming her that way, and she was set up to go and meet him, and I'm sure he was going to probably take her somewhere and take her off and sell her, because that's what they do. They groom the girls and the boys, and they tell them that they love them, they give them things that they need, they buy them clothes, they get their nails done, they get their hair done, all of the things that young girls like to have done that unfortunately some of them believe that they're entitled to. They don't know that that's actually a luxury when you get it done when you're growing up. It's not a need, or it's not a necessity. And so a lot of the men who are on these sites, that's what they tell the girls: oh, I can get you this, I can get you that. Some of the things to look out for is if they're going to the mall all the time. A lot of them will go to the mall and they'll meet people. Some of the men will meet them there. Some of the cases that I worked on before were back in Ohio, where we did have, they would meet them at like certain restaurants like McDonald's. The kids like to hang out at McDonald's after school events, and so sometimes the men would arrange to go there to meet them. And believe it or not, these men are not like 18 or 19, they're like 40 and 50 years old, meeting a lot of these young girls and then, recruiting them and taking them somewhere. We did have another situation where a young lady here was trying to meet some people, and she had met a guy, and she ended up calling her mom from Vegas, and her mom didn't know where she was. She had reported her as a runaway, and we were trying to track her by her phone. I believe that what happened with her, her phone kept ringing. The guy took her phone, and then her mom says, I called and some guy answered the phone, and she came to the police department and told us that. So we were going to try to call the phone and see if we could, speak to her. He answers the phone. Unfortunately, the officer answers the phone, and I had told him, when you call, don't sound like a police officer. I don't need you to sound like that. I need you to sound like a dude. Well, he couldn't help himself. And he told the guy, this is such and such, I'm from Maricopa Police Department. And I was like, oh, she's dead. And so he hung up, and the girl did call her grandmother back and tell her grandmother, you better get this straight because he's gonna kill me. And so we kind of made up a story like, hey, it was me, I was just playing, da. So I think she eventually came back because we ended up closing the case. I think somebody else worked on it after I worked on it initially. And so those are the kind of things that happened. And they were selling her in Vegas. And once they get finished with selling the girls in one city, then they'll move to another city. So these girls get pushed around, and unfortunately, we're on the West Coast, so they're going to take them mostly to California, and maybe to Texas. A lot of the cities that see sex trafficking a lot is Texas and Florida and California, and I think there's one more state I can't, but you find it a lot there. If you're anywhere in or around the bus station, if you see young people that look like they're too young to be on their own out there, the best thing to do is just call the police. Because we don't really have a bus station here. Back in Cincinnati, when I would sometimes work a bus detail, I would always encounter young girls and young boys getting off the bus. And I would approach them and I'm like, well, how old are you? And they were like, oh, I'm 30 something. I said, no, baby. This is over 30. You're not 30. And so we would find them like that, and then we eventually get them to tell us where they were from, and we call their parents. And one of the good things about the bus station, they would, the Greyhound would allow them to be put back on the bus for free, and the driver would make sure that they did not get off until a parent came and got them. So we kind of had that relationship with Greyhound there. Here we often will just hold on to them if we can until the parent will get here. Or we have to take them to juvenile and just not really put them in jail, but have them held there until we can get the parent here. We've done that a few times. Back in Ohio, we used to have to do it a lot. Like if we couldn't get the parent to come and get them, if they weren't willing to get back on the bus and stay on the bus, we'd have to put them in the juvenile detention center there until the parent will come and get them. It's a big business for these people who are actually doing it. And I think a lot of it happens because the children believe that they're lacking things at home. They think that they lack love, and they think that, my parents are making me do this, and I shouldn't have to do this, and I should be able to get this because I'm a kid. It's okay to be strict on your kids. It's okay to discipline your children. It's not okay to put them in the hospital, But you can discipline your kids. You can physically discipline them. And I tell parents that all the time. They're like, if I hit my kid, I'm going to be in jail. No, that's not true. If you injure your child to the point that they're going to the hospital, you might go to jail. And you may not. You may just get cited into court or whatever, and you'll have DCS involved in your life. But, it happens. But people believe that they can't discipline their children. I'm a big proponent of not giving young kids iPhones and what are those things? Androids, anything that all they need is a flip phone to call you and 911. They don't need all of that because that's how they get in trouble. That iPhone and the Androids, they're contacting anybody. They don't even have to have service on it. All they need to do is be near internet. We had another case where a young girl she had done something at the school, and her mom ended up taking her phone. Well, then she had gotten suspended, and she's at home, and she's texting all these people, and and she's texting her friends saying, I text this guy and he's gonna meet, da 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 da. So I went back over to the house and I told Mom, I said, hey, you need to get the other phone from your daughter. And she was upset. She's like, my daughter doesn't have another phone. Oh yeah, she got another phone. And she's like, no, she does not have another phone. I said, listen, I've been a kid before. We didn't have phones then, but I've been a kid before. And I know how to, children know how to fool their parents sometimes. And so I told her, I said, listen, I guarantee you, if you go up in her room, lift up the mattress, you're gonna find 2 or 3 under the bed, you're gonna find some behind the dresser. I said, they get these phones from their friends. And she's like, Mom, your child doesn't have a phone. She went upstairs and she came back with like 5 or 6 phones, you know. And so don't believe that your children won't do anything when they're out of your sight. Children they're more influenced by their friends often than they are their parents. And it's unfortunate, but you know, sometimes they don't make smart decisions. But you as parents, you have to know who your children's friends are and you have to be involved with them, because other girls and other boys get girls and boys into the sex trafficking. They tell them, hey, my boyfriend can help you with this, my boyfriend can help you with that. And a lot of times what the boyfriend does is he goes, yeah, I can help you with this. I have a lot of people staying at my house. So he's got a whole brothel of young girls or young boys at the house. And he grooms the girl the first time when she first comes in, and they don't really know what's going on. And so they take them to a hotel and all the girls go in, and then they, you know, may have sex with 2, 3 men. Usually it's about 20 a day. And they tell the new girl, oh, all you have to do is watch. You know, so she watches for a while, but then she has to start paying her own way. And so then he gets her involved in that, and then it just goes on and on and on. It's hard for them to get out because these people threaten them, you know, with bodily harm and taking everything away from them, even, you know, death sometimes. So a lot of young girls are afraid. I would just encourage you, if you see young girls, even here, if you see young people just wandering around, because we don't have a lot of people that just wander around at night. But if you see a young girl or a young boy out and they're just wandering, and it's like they don't have anywhere to go, call the police. We can check them out, we can approach them, we can talk to them. Parents often think that we need their permission to talk to their child. We don't need your permission to talk to your child. We need your permission if we're going to interrogate your child. But if we're just going to talk to them, we don't need your permission. Because a lot of times it's not even for something criminal. It could be for something like this, to find out who they are, what they're doing, what they need. Because a lot of children won't tell their parents everything that they need. They might tell us, or some of us, some of the people they won't tell them. But it is, like I say, it is a big business. It's dangerous for young kids out there. That internet is dangerous. You can get the monitor, same way you can get the monitor put on your cable, you can get it put on the internet. You can buy those spy programs that they don't even have to know that you're on there. I have a friend that used to live out here, and she, one day, it was probably about 11 o'clock, she goes, hey, can you come and go somewhere with me? And I'm like, sure. So we go to a house, and she knocks on the door, and she says, can you get my son out of your daughter's room? And the lady goes, oh, your son's not here. She goes, oh yeah, he's here. Because she had the program on her phone that when he called or text, she had a tracker on the phone, and she tracked him. She could see all of his text messages. He never knew it. He didn't know how. He was over there. But yeah, and well, she was a IT person, so she knew how to do all that stuff anyway. But it's not something that you should take lightly. If you see anybody or you hear anybody or you hear your friends talking about some of the things that their children are doing, maybe you can suggest that that's something that they look into.
What's your thought not only on the sex trafficking, but the human trafficking with the selling of organs and different things like that? That's big now.
That's pretty big now too. That's one of the things that if you look at any of the articles and listen to any of the news, they are kidnapping people for those types of, for taking organs, because they're selling them to organizations. Mm-hmm. And they're getting big money for that. And you have to be very, very careful, especially, and tell kids, when people start asking them about their health and the types of things that they do, they need to be cautious. You know, the hair needs to be standing up on the back of your neck, and they need to be telling somebody. There's nothing that a child should have to deal with that they are not able to tell their parents about. And so I don't know if some parents are making their children feel, you know, like they've never been a kid before, but, and some people won't talk to their kids about certain things. Believe it or not, a lot of parents don't know their children's friends or their friends' parents. They would tell us all the time, I don't know their last name. I've never met his mom. When you let your daughter go out with them and you haven't met the boy's mother, it happens so much. I had a lady one time that was screaming at me because, you know, she said her kid had run away, and I was like, well, who are his friends? And she's like, I don't know, don't you know? I don't even know your kid. I know. And so, you know, she allegedly didn't do anything. And I'm thinking like, well, who are his friends? And then parents will say, my child doesn't have any friends. Everybody got a best friend. Yeah. Every kid has a best friend, and they tell their best friend everything. So it's, you know, be active with your children, be interactive with them, know those types of things. Go back to the old way. No, you're not going out with this boy until I meet his parents. No, you're not spending the night at their house until I meet their parents. And then you might not spend the night at their house if it's a man there. If it's a girl, my mother never let us do that. But, you know, it's, you can't trust everybody.